first one to react on this was you get builders saying, this is the way. This is what we have to follow. So I would say that this is very dangerous if we don't get this sense of consistency, humility and consistency, and at the same time, the last thing, which is respect. And I insist on this, which is for me, and this is why I would argue about, rule of law is not enough. Because many think, respect for me is not to go against, freedom of speech. But within the law, without adding laws to prevent people from speaking. This is why, for example, after the Danish cartoon and all this discussion, I was against any new law to be enforced. But to say, let us listen to one another to know what are our respective sensitivities. Because at the end of the day, if we want to live together, the sensitivity should be understood and heard, even if we did agree. And this is why I was saying to the Muslims, don't react, let the people speak. The cartoons or anything else, the movie that gets builders, that's fine. Go ahead, take a critical distance. But let the people understand that we are hurt. And that's it. You have the right to tell the people, I'm hurt. But that's fine, go ahead. If you want to hurt me for the sake of freedom of speech, go ahead. It's silly, but it's legal. Very important point here, which is the communication. We should, if we want to create a new we, at least we have to respect the sensitivities. Doesn't mean that we are adding laws to protect this, protective attitude and using the law as solving all the problems, as we have as a discussion now in France about the Burqa and about everything. We come with law, we are going to solve the problem. It's not going to be solved in such a way. So having said this, these are the conditions to the line, upstream from the discussion, and then come to something which for me is the practical conditions, what we need to do and in which way it has to be done, because we are going to live together, there is no choice, and then how are we going to speak about this movie. So let me just come to something which is important. We can speak about, we can have a very theoretical approach by saying we have common values, we have shared values, don't speak only about the Judeo-Christian values, but now we have to integrate the Islamic dimension. That's fine. These are very general statements. And I would say that there are conditions if we want to do this. And the condition should be, as I said, coming from the conditions upstream, is what I mean by self-critical approach. And this is why very often when I speak to my fellow citizens in the West, they don't understand, for example, what I'm trying to do from within the Islamic tradition. Because it's exactly the point with the moratorium and all the other questions, is that if you want to create a new we all have to go through a self-critical process at the same time as we are building bridges. It's not only to build a bridge, it's what are you saying from within about the bridge? What are you saying about in the West about the bridge? It's not you compromise and we respect. No, it's a two-way process. No two-way. If there is no two-way process, we are not going to solve the problem. And this is why it's quite important here to understand that there is a framework, there are principles, but we have to do the job. So let me give you an example, for example. When, as a Muslim, as a Western Muslim, I'm challenging the Islamic tradition, so look at the work from within, challenging the Muslim tradition, saying, no, there is nothing like Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb, the word of Islam, the word of Islam and the word of war, or something like Dar al-Da'wah, as the scholars, the traditional scholars were dividing the word. So if you want the new we, you have to come from within and to go beyond the binary vision that is built within the tradition by defining yourself against the other. And by saying, for example, no, now the global world, everywhere, wherever you are living in Dar al-Shahada, the space of witness. There is no binary vision. So as a Western Muslim, I'm a witness of my religion in my daily life. But so are the Christians in Europe. So are the Muslims in Muslim majority countries. I'm breaking from within the tradition, this binary vision. Why am I doing this? I am challenging the perception, the mindset of the Muslims from within by telling them, be careful. If you carry on this us versus them from within, you will never. The bridge will be there, but you will still think about to react. So I want more than building bridge. I want to create a space where we are together without bridge, in fact. But to do this, I have to come from within the tradition. So this is why, for example, when I speak about identity, I'm challenging the Muslims. Stop speaking about me as a Muslim. I'm always connected to the Arab culture or the Pakistani cultures. This is wrong. So this is why I have multiple cultures, multiple identities. So this is not a problem. By saying this, I'm breaking this binary vision. I'm doing it from where? From within the religious tradition. And I want all of us to do exactly the same from within your own tradition. Atheist tradition, agnostic tradition, Christian tradition, Jewish tradition, Buddhist tradition, Hindu tradition. Let us, if we want to speak and we live together, come to something which is a self-critical approach from within. So this is why, as well, when it comes to values, for example, when you speak about equality, and for example, I'm an advocate of women's rights within the Muslim tradition, but it's as if I'm not heard from outside. Say, oh, this is something which is, if you don't speak as a Westerner about women, it means that you are not really for the women's rights. The point is not this one. The point is coming within the tradition and to challenge the Muslims by saying this is wrong. So if you see all my books, there is no one book where you won't find something which is advocating the liberation for Muslim women from within in the name of Islam, and to open up. And this is where we can come to common values if you understand the processes that are coming from within a tradition. This is why if we are serious about living together, we need to understand the intrinsic dynamics in the world of the other. Not only the bridge, but what is going on with it. And this is why in the moratorium, my position was not about separating church and state. It's not wrong. I don't have a problem with this. I said it many times. But the problem was to say to all the people who are listening to me, you want to be heard by Muslims, you have to speak from within the Islamic tradition. You want to go beyond this, you have to go from within. Because you are dealing with people like me, we believe in texts. These texts have a weight, they mean something. So I can just condemn, that's fine. I will please you, but not heard by them, by myself. But what I'm doing is from within, criticizing and by saying, in the name of Islam, death penalty, corporal punishment, stoning is wrong. We have to stop right now. In the name of Islam, not to please Sarkozy, not to please you. Because look at this, in the world today, when there is this us versus them, when there is a power struggle, if I am understood as pleasing you against my principles, it's over. There is no discussion. But if I'm challenging them from within, in the roots, this is where I can come to humility, self-criticism, building the new we are talking about. I'm not against my religion. It's in the name of my religion that I'm reaching a point where we have shared values. And this is something which is quite important, where, for example, you are saying about, I'm saying to the Muslims, you have to respect the law as long as they are not contradicting your religious principles. It's not exactly what I said. It's not exactly what I said. What I said is, you should respect the law as long as the fundamental principle of religion is not betrayed. And what is the case in all the Western countries, that all your main principles are respected. So by definition, you abide by the law. So the second part of the sentence is very often cut from what I said. I said we don't have a problem. The main principles of our religion are protected because there is freedom of expression, freedom of worship, and freedom of conscience. We don't have a problem with this, so we abide by the law. So there is no problem. And this contradiction or conflict for me is solved already, and I will come to this. Do I have still 7 minutes? Is it right? Am I right? 5 minutes, not 7, that's fine. Okay, I will try to keep to this. So there is something which is here quite important. I am saying that the problem we have in the Islamic tradition is always to speak about women in their role, while we have to come in their being, and this is the way we can liberate women. So I would say that this is exactly what we have to do. I was not opposing the West and Islam. I was, in a self-critical approach, saying that this is what we have to do. And then it is also about history, when the Muslims should also come, projecting onto the West and saying, oh, you had a problem with slavery, you had a problem with immigrants, and you have to come to the Islamic history, the Islamic civilization, and say, wait a second.